All right, here we are again. Welcome everybody to day 15. Wow. Day 15. Well, day 15 of streaming. It's not really day 15 of the project. Which I think I need to figure out how to kind of rectify, because I've streamed most days, right? Like I've streamed, maybe missed like 3 days of streaming this whole month. So do I number these episodes according to the stream number? Do I number them according to the actual day of the project? Because this would technically be day 17, day 18. Yeah, day 18. So anyway, we'll figure out what we're doing there. But for the time being, we're on episode 15 of the process. So anyway, welcome back. Anyway, some news items first. We have 3 days left on this thing, which is pretty wild. It's still a jumbled piece of parts and half-broken things that aren't really wired together yet, and kind of lack coherence or a certain level of functionality that will make this like actually usable and playable by other people. So yeah, definitely would have assumed to have a lot more done by this point, but yeah, we're just kind of doing it as we go and figuring things out, and the progress we make is going to be the progress we make. We're still putting one foot in front of the other, and that's what counts. But yeah, it's gonna be a pinch if we're gonna actually finish this thing. So yeah, we'll see where we end up. I'm trying not to put too harsh a judgment on it. All right. So our plan for the day is to start with a morning warm up. I've mentioned this a few times in previous episodes, namely Monday and Tuesday, I think. Yeah, and each time it's just been this like massively overambitious warm up, which I've said I'm gonna do for like a half hour just for the learning benefits, and then always ends up like taking the whole morning basically. So yeah, I'd really like to have the warm ups not only for the learning opportunity and the kind of video production benefits I was mentioning before, but also to like practice things that I want to learn. And I think I need to just like set my sights a little lower if I'm going to turn it into the thing I'm trying to turn it into, which is just a quick thing at the beginning of the morning to kind of kick me off for the day, and then yeah, we can get into production mode once we've had an opportunity to practice. So I'm gonna start with a smaller warm up today, and then we will continue building out some WebSockets related functionality. So yeah, I guess I could preview this real quick before we actually start the warm up. So we did not see this on screen. I did this on Monday afternoon, I think. But check this out. We got 2 instances of the Plotters game, and look at that. We can update them simultaneously, which is really cool. That's neat to see that. I've done like versions of that in like a React app where I've had like 2 input fields hooked up to the same state variable, and you type in one and it updates both. But yeah, to see that in 2 separate windows on 2 separate clients, all coordinated with the server, that's a really neat thing. That's a lot of fun, and it totally works. There's a couple things that I'd like to do. So right now, when you've made a connection and synced with the server, anything you change here will update there. But if you refresh, you get the like initial state of the app when it loads. So I like to do things like when I connect to a WebSocket connection, I want to see if there's like state on the server that I can bring down. So we essentially get to a point where there we go. Where if you type something, or when you like load the first time and there's like live state that like someone else has put there, it'll load into the app. But yeah, for the time being, we've got like one of the biggest parts in, which is like coordinating changes between apps. So that's a big step. So anyway, we're gonna continue with that. We've got the rudiments of it down with like the most simple game state that I could possibly set and track and distribute to the other apps and update. But yeah, there's a couple more like call it proof of concept things. Just detail bits that we're gonna need to like actually implement in order to make it possible to use it on like a nested like map structure, for instance. And there are going to be certain fields that update, certain fields that don't update, things that are associated with timestamps and users. So that'll all come. But yeah, for the time being, we've got it like connected and working, which is really exciting. Yeah, so this is not it. Experiments with rich comment blocks. So this is a cool thing, which I've heard about a little bit, but that same guy, Brandon, yesterday from Slack, who I was mentioning, kind of turned me on to as well. So there's this concept of a rich comment block, which is a comment macro in Clojure, which I don't really understand the purpose. It's like, this is supposed to be for like code comments, but really it's kind of used for like setup code or test code. So something about the fact that you put comment blocks in here means that like the code that you actually run doesn't affect the namespace you're in or affect the code somehow, although you can interact with like the outside world and the code you've written. So how about I put a link in here in the show notes when I eventually get these online. Rich comment blocks. So that's the thing we're going to be experimenting with today, which is going to kind of make me better at like REPL-driven development, which I mentioned. It's going to make me hopefully a little more comfortable with like interacting in the code with the code in kind of a REPL-y way, which will allow us to take advantage of all the nice stuff that Clojure gives us in the form of like REPL-driven development. Yep, so that's going to be our warm-up for today, and our mantra for today is it'll get done, or maybe it won't. Something will get done. Maybe it won't be the thing that we expected to get done, but we're going to get something done. All right. So here we go. Yeah. So 9:45. Let's say we're gonna stop this at 10:15. And I've got like a little egg timer thing here. If I put it far away, the ticking won't be so disruptive or loud on the microphone. So how about we do that? Then we won't go over. Alright, so we got this. We want to try using rich comment blocks, and the thing we're going to try to do is like a... I had this open earlier. Recently closed tabs. Yeah, longest word. Here we go. So let's just like get this in. Talk about word wrapping. Alright. At the function, longest word, take the sentence parameter being passed and return the largest word in the string. If there are two more words that are the same length, return the first word from the string with that length. Ignore punctuation and assume that sentence will not be empty. Alright, so we're basically saying like, return the spectacularly longest word. So in this one, obviously that would be the longest word. So yeah, how about we say like def sentence 1. We can say like def sentence 2. Yeah, this whole like game stuff. Thing is like the big internet meme of the week. We find long word in this sentence. This is a good one. The story that encapsulates quite a lot about life in 2021. The democratization of financial markets, the mobilization of a giant online community, and the ability of obsessed amateurs to alter reality when they put their minds to it, especially when there isn't much else to do. It is indeed the story for 2021. All right. So, yeah, let's just play with this thing a little bit and see what it does. So I've legitimately never used this before. Comments. Just say comment and boot whatever you want in there. Okay. So something I'm curious about, because it mentions that you can just put any old thing in here and it will be ignored, is whether I can do a def inside comment and whether it'll end up in the global namespace. Oh, interesting. It won't. Maybe it won't work inside here either. Evaluating file, rich comments, CLJ. So that's interesting, because typically when you have a closure scope, you've got def and some func. If you say def variable demo is a test string, and you do that, and then we say print line variable demo. Unbound, unbound. And here's some things I'm learning about closure already. I thought when you did def on a variable inside a function that it would somehow get hoisted into the global scope and become a global variable, but that is evidently not what actually happens. Print line variable. Oh, okay, here we go, right. So what's going on? Test string. Yeah, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, we have some thunk. We define a variable called demo variable, and typically when you do stuff in closure, it will be limited in scope to the parens that it's surrounded in, if that makes sense. So if we were to do def another func, we were to open a let block, let's scoped variable hello from inside the function. Alright, so we have a let block, which allows us to define local variables inside the scope of another function as a closure. Good morning, Cliff. That is is that a bowl of soup? Coffee. There we go. Good morning. Welcome. We're just doing some code warm-ups this morning, which is a longest word sentence. You get some quality sleep last night? Yes, much better. Something about not sleeping at all makes you sleep really well the night after you didn't sleep. So I think I'm still a little goofy, but yeah, feeling a lot better now. Thank you. How'd that snowman work out for you? Didn't get around to doing the snowman, unfortunately, but we should be getting snow today, tomorrow, and Friday, so that's definitely enough for a snowman. Now I've got a backyard now because I don't live in Brooklyn anymore, so yeah, that could be something I actually do, and I don't have to walk 5 miles to the park. So yeah, no, we'll try it out later. Anyway, welcome back. Yeah, like I mentioned, we're doing some code challenges this morning. So something I learned about was this rich comment block, which is, I guess, a thing that people use when they're like developing in a REPL fashion. Because like a great thing with Clojure is that it's this like very interactive language, but kind of the best way to like work with it in an interactive way is like eluded me so far. So yeah, we're experimenting with this thing called the comment macro, which I think is kind of like a repurposed tool, since this is supposed to be a way to like leave a comment on a file, but because everything inside the function itself is like pretty much ignored by the program, it's a good way to like write experimental code, and also to leave that experimental code in a file if you want to just have some kind of reference for like how things work, and like a little sandbox area for experimenting and things. So yeah, we're just going through a quick demo of like variable scoping. So typically when you define variables with that def keyword, they are globally available globally available after that. So like print line demo, it'll like print test string, even though we defined it in the scope of this function here. But if we define something with let, and we say print line scoped variable, we can get access to that inside this function because of let, but outside the function we will not. So yeah, if we evaluate that inline scope variable, yeah, really. Def fun, that's it. All right. Test string, another func. Yeah, maybe I don't understand let blocks either. Test string, scoped variable. Another func. Printline scoped variable. Load from inside the function. Yeah, a bunch of small fiddly stuff to learn about. But the basic idea is still valid, right? Like anything we do in here is not going to be available in the global scope. So we can't get access to variable demo. Yeah, I was having trouble just logging a variable inside a Clojure earlier. But if we were to try to print line sentence 1 right now, unable to resolve simple sentence 1 in this context because it's inside this comment block. Okay, so that's a cool thing to know. And yeah, I think the way you typically do this is you'll have like defin get longest sentence. Get longest word from a sentence. And I think what you'll typically do is you will kind of write your code as you would otherwise, and then you can use this to kind of like set up like test cases and like data to work on. So yeah, let's try that. So get longest word. My JavaScript brain wants to split these strings into vectors. So yeah, let's go to the docs and just real quickly do that. Cheat sheet Clojure strings. All right, split string on regular expressions. That's exactly what we want. But we need the string function first. Alright. And we can call string as splits using the regular expression of a space. Alright, so we'll split the sentence. We'll load that individual function. Extra inputs. There we go. Okay. So now we got that, and we can start to experiment with it. So get longest word sentence one. So if we do that, it will resolve simple sentence one. Interesting. So we're able to evaluate it, so then we load it into the namespace. We've added that into the REPL. I wonder if I can, like, sentence 2. We didn't load sentence 2 into the REPL. So if we copy that, I bet we're going to get the same error. Sentence 2. Unable to resolve simple sentence 2 in this context. So what I did before was I loaded this into the REPL individually, which is why we got this, like, hey, this variable is available in the namespace now. But if I load this comment block into the REPL, I hope that we can just, like, get everything in there and we don't need to load, like, the whole, like every single little individual thing. So if we do that, I believe we did load it in. And now if we call this function, still get the same error. Def sentence 1, def sentence 2. So we loaded this individually. I bet kind of a evaluate current form. Load current val, evaluate current form. Control enter, evaluate current top level form. Inline evaluate the current top level form. So I've been doing control enter this whole time, but option enter might have been what I wanted. So I'll just like stop the REPL real quick. Let's see if that's what we really wanted to do. Alright, so now instead of control enter, we're going to hit option enter, I believe. Able to resolve symbol. So, yeah, now we don't have either. Evaluate current top level form, alt enter. Control enter. Also kind of assumes you're using a Windows computer. computer, which we are not. What is Alt key equivalent on Mac? Oh, you know what? I can also just do current top level form. So that was it. Top level. Evaluate top level form. Evaluate top level form to comment. Maybe it assumes you're actually working in the REPL while you're using this. Interesting. Well, that's a bit annoying, but as I've frequently said, you need to do it the dumb way before you can do it the smart way. So I guess for now we just need to like individually load everything inside these comment blocks because yeah, this is kind of a special thing. We can't figure out how to work with it just yet, but we will soon. Okay. So anyway, yeah, so we can split the string into a sentence, and now we want to count. Perfect. Map count. In terms of the number of items in the collection, counts nil, returns 0. Also works on strings arrays and Java collections of maps. Alright. This could be an interesting way to kind of use like another function which is called juxt, which is also something you find in Ramda. So anyway, this is a way of like kind of running multiple functions on the same oh, this is actually perfect for using in the comment block, so I'm glad I thought to do that. So anyway, we want like a count, but we also want an index, right? So we want to go through our array of strings, and we want to actually count the number of letters in that string, and that's like the first part of our problem. So after that, we're going to get a array of numbers, basically. So like the last one's going to be 3, second to the last one's going to be 2. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, how about we just experiment a little bit? You know what, let's just make this super easy. Def example array example vec. It's going to be this. Alright, so load that in, do it the dumb way. And how about we do count map count example vec. So I think what's going to happen. Right, cool, excellent. So 6, 3, 13, 7, 5. So this gives us like half of what we need, which is the number of letters in a word. But the second half of what we need is at least the way we're doing it right now is like the index of like that particular word. So if I know that the third item in this vector is going to be 13 letters, you know what? I don't need the index. I've already got the index. Man, this is getting a bit baroque, isn't it? But I'm kind of committed to using juxt for the first time, so I'm just going to. What I'd like to do is kind of get like the word back and the length. So this will make more sense if I just do it. If I do like juxt and identity. I wonder what this will give me. Map count example vec. It'll just give me a function. Need something to map over, don't we? We need to put it outside this form. Oh, so this is like a partially applied function out of the box, which is like pretty cool. Checks map counts, map identity. Let's make sure we understand this. Might not be what I want after all. Is there like a see also partial comp? Composition, that's not what we want. Sequences, creating. Change, conj, concats, place, shuffle, reserve, map cat. Also not what I want. Okay. Time's running out. We got 6 minutes. All right. Turn the spectacular longest word so we can get the longest word. We like sorts. Map count example vec. Right, so that gives that. And maybe if we just do like one of these. So we're going to return a tuple, which is going to be the count. And then just the thing itself, can we do that? Not into, but I think we need to wrap this in a form. Yeah, one step at a time, and also we don't need to just constantly change this function. We can leave it there and then move on to the next iteration of it. So let's leave that there for reference. And let's see if we can do this. Right, alright. That's part of what I want to do. Can I like wrap it in extra vector? Wrong number of arguments passed to closure lang persistent vector. That's certainly not it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like wrap it in a vector because I want to return both the count and the word at the same time. There's like a join. There's like a oh man, so many good functions. Interleave, interpose. Is that what I want? For then the second, yeah, interleave. That's what I want. So if I did like interleave this with that, what would I get? Nice, okay, that's what I want. But we don't even need map count example vec. Right, so we got the word and how many letters it has. Alright. Well, our timer went off. You may have heard that. So 6 return 3 the 13 spectacularly 7 longest 5 word. So we got most of the way there. What we're missing is a way to like kind of find the biggest number and grab it and like give back the associated word. But this was a really good opportunity to try out rich comment blocks. Yeah, and it was good REPL practice. So even though we didn't actually like finish what we were trying to do, I think that was a really good exercise. Yeah, that's something we can use while we develop our stuff out. So that is great. I'm gonna take like a 5-minute break. I'm gonna grab some water, and then we're gonna get into coding the game itself. So just give me 1 All right, everybody, thanks for your patience. Yeah, that's great. We still didn't finish our coding challenge, but we did achieve what we set out to do, which was experiment with some rich comment blocks, which is great. All right, so now back to the task at hand, which is the actual app. So I mentioned earlier that we've got the ability to coordinate state over many apps via a WebSocket server, which is super cool, but one thing we can't do is reload the page and kind of know that there is some kind of like states that is on the server right now, and we would like to join and kind of like seed our application with. So we can't do that now. So I think that's one thing we could do. But let's think about things. So we only got 3 days left if I'm gonna like finish this thing at all. So is this like critical needed stuff? Like, could I put out a beta version of this without that feature? And I think I could, so I think we're going to let that sit for a minute, because that's not, like, the most important thing I could be doing right now. But one thing that we definitely are going to need is some kind of ability to work with, like, a nested data structure. So, right now we're just working with, like, kind of the most simple thing possible, which is a map with, like, a timestamp and a value to it. So this is a flat data structure, but if you remember from our coding last week, the game state itself is a little more complicated than that. So there's some things which are flat about the structure, like the game code, the round index, but players, that's a nested structure. Ordered game plots, it's going to be something static that doesn't necessarily change, but when people are like submitting their plots, for instance, that's going to be like Andy plots, dark and stormy, and all that. So we're going to have like arrays with objects, and now we're going to have arrays with objects with timestamps. So we need a way to do that, and we probably need a way to do like some key nested value with a timestamp. So yeah, this seems like the easier thing to solve right now, like a key inside a map, which is itself has a map for a value with like a timestamp and a value. So that does seem easier, but we definitely know that we're going to need this. So in the interest of developing directly on things that we definitely know we're going to need, I think moving in the direction of figuring out how to do what we can already do with simple values and doing them for nested values is going to be like the next thing that we do. All right. So let's just comment that out for the time being, and let's get to that. Where do we start? The server side or the client side? I vote we start on the client side. All right. Let's update what we're doing. Turning basic sockets. Enabling Oh, too long. There we go. All right, cool. So, yeah, we'll do that. Get timestamp based client sockets coordination. Working for vectors of values. All right, great. So let's give it a shot, shall we? And how about we leave our existing code just so we know that we're not breaking what we've already done. And let's start on the client like I was saying I wanted to. And let's say nested. We're going to have a timestamp one value Andy, and just for the sake of having something like vaguely realistic here, how about we say timestamp one value. How are you today? You know what? I'm thinking about my coding teachers from my coding boot camp. So yeah, their favorite example was a hot dog. And hamburger. I think they were resisting the trend of foo and bar for you know, random stand-in values for demonstrating concepts. So I always did hot dog and hamburger, which, you know, I was appreciative of. Right. Timestamp one, hot dog, hamburger. All right, we got enough to start. And let's go. All right, so first, let's start to render this somewhere in our app. All right. So we got an app state. We get the app state here. All right. Under food app state. How about first we have like a let's nested vals equal app state at the index of nested. Oh, and here's something I've never done in Reagent before, which is rendering like multiple things for a vector, which I think is a little bit different than how you do it in JavaScript. All right, for item of items. All right. For food in nested vals, the key will be the food, the list item will be the food as well. All right. Now, if we put that down below our main content, let's give it an extra div for now. We go back to our app, reload. We crash the app. What did I do? Ah. Nested vals, nested from app state, that's all good. Render food, we didn't call it with actual value it needs. There we go. Item timestamp value hot dog. All right. So rendering the like literal map out, which is okay. But what we really want is the value. So key is going to be the value of the food. The item is also going to be value of the food. Now if we go back here, item hot dog, item hamburger. I think we need that. Great, hot dogs and hamburgers. Yeah, and how about like a little button? Oh, interesting. This is like closure metadata. Yeah, so this is a way of like adding kind of hidden information to a piece of data. Map of data about the assembler collection. So yeah, like a React key. It's kind of like information about a piece of information, but maybe something that you wouldn't want to see directly when you're like inspecting it or logging it or something. So anyway, yeah, interesting thing to note. I've never used that before, but yeah, anyway, what we're trying to do is with value of food, and I want a way to like update this. So, you know, like a button. Type button. We can do like on click JS alert. Click that, it alerts. Say class border 1 BG green 100. I think that's what we need from a tailwind perspective. Alright, that's like the worst. Padding. P2. Let me make this just a little bit nicer. Alright, great. So now we got a button, and just say like transform into random food. So we got class, we got type, we got onClick. Now what I want to do is I want to transform things in this array into just like some like random item. And that'll be how we trigger state changes, and that'll be our proof of concept for like yeah, the idea that like, you know, we can do this for like flat values in one map and also for nested values. So yeah, let's give that a shot. So on click, it's going to be it's going to be like a reset, either a reset or a swap. Also realizing I'm going to need an index. Closure cheat sheet. I had it up in here, didn't I? List comprehension. See also do all range recur let's. Yeah, I wonder if instead of for I could use map. This map has a function called map indexed. God, I love that. Another thing I learned yesterday was like this style of commenting, which is kind of like the pound and the underscore. That lets you just like get rid of a whole form, which is super sweet. Yeah, so if I did like map identity, test 1, test 2, or even better, div test 1, div test 2. Can we do that? We can. Excellent. All right, so let's use map indexed. Map indexed. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to be bad React people and not care about there we go. All right. Keys for the time being. This React is smart enough to just figure that out for us anyway. Let's map over the nested vowels. A quick jot over the map indexed. Just to index an item. Remind ourselves how this works. Alright. Map indexed, function index an item, or item. Oh, our item is going to be in li. Shouldn't have deleted that, now it's too late. The value of the item. That's also going to have a button. Inside of it, the class. BG green 500, padding 2 on quick. Yeah, I thought I'd make it a type of a button. Our on click is going to be a function. Says date random food at that index. All right. F and random food at index. All right. So let's just see if we have an anything. We don't. There's one of his logs. totally broke it. Invalid error D 0. There we go, cool. Didn't get the button, but we did get the food. Ah, the button doesn't have any text, that's why. Change to random. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we're printing the index, and that's great. Yeah, so now we want to update the app state, and that kind of completes the story of updating a nested item on the client. So, random food index, and let's just pass in the app state as well. Index, app state. Alright, so don't think we want to reset, so we're going to swap in the app state using this function. I'm going to map over nested app states. What we're going to do is we're going to say function index and item I'll just call this ing for now. Alright, when if equals ing, that we get some other random foods. Def foods. I can say ice cream. What else do we got for food here? About lobster. And fries. What an assortment. I guarantee you, random sample. It's going to be the thing we want. Turns a random element. That's what we want. Rand nth. Equals j, return a rand nth of foods. Otherwise, just turn the item. All right. Swap the app state using this function. Yeah, so we can't swap the whole app states. We want to assoc in app state. Associates value in nested associative structure, right. All right. I think we're gonna be like threading association. Yeah, I'll just close this for now. Association users, index of 1, age 14. You know, we could use association for a vector as well. I totally forgot. So we don't need this like goofy in app state. One age. That's gonna be like nested. Then we want to have like 0 or 1. Random, rand. Can we do like rand between an age? Between 0 and 1. Yeah. Nested rand. Nested I. Yeah, that's all we need. Pretty sure anyway. Alright. So we're going to swap the existing app state, which just for reference is a map with a existing thing, and then this thing called nested, which is a vector of 2 maps. But really, we need to change not only the value, but the time at which we changed it. Yep, that's right. Okay. So value and timestamp. And I guarantee I've got this in the code somewhere already. Timestamp, message. Yeah, now JSDate. JSDate.now. Oh, it was even in my code already. That's kind of cool. All right. All right, I think that's it. Let's see if it works. Nope. Sure doesn't. And also got rid of our test code. But amazingly, that still works. All right. So what is app state now? Oh, null pointer exception. New client state null. So there's that. Do this again. We've just got our like beginning state. If we look at it now, it's still the same. Swap the app state with the result of associating in app states. Yeah, you know what? Let's do a comment block. Let's use what we were practicing. Alright. So def I equals 0. Def app state. It's gonna be this. Alright. So yeah, let's load this because I think we need to. Let's load that. Let's load this function. And now, instead of running the whole function, let's just try to run this forming green and see what we get. No protocol method ID ref defined for type. Because it's not an atom yet. Alright, so if we load that one more time and we try to run this. Use of undeclared var, now it's in there. Yeah, so that's great because we're getting like what we thought we wanted. Timestamp 1 value test code. Our nested is now the timestamp, but it's got a value of lobster. It did not touch the other one. If we define I as 1, load that in, run this function again. Now it's still hot dog, but ice cream is the one that changed. So this is correct. So it must be how we're swapping. Swap app states. Do I need to do that like dereference thing? Swap. Swap players, conj player 2. No, you just passed the atom straight in, right? So app state, app state, app state. So what if I try to call this? Random food 0 app states. If I call that and print. Alright, load that. Load that. Load this. Run that. What is that? There's nothing. Dref app states. Still nil. Swap the app state with the results of calling this function. Yeah, so maybe like how about we do this just for the sake of experimentation? How about we get the state setting stuff out of here? And we just call this function straight. Still returns nil. Which is a little bit weird, right? Because I thought I was getting what I needed out of this. And nth foods. Foods is all that. That's correct. Rand nth. If we evaluate that, it'll give us ice cream. If we call the whole function, it'll give us nil. Def app state r atom. Man, I tell you what, these rich comments are already paying for themselves because it's really nice to have like not only the sandbox but a way that I can like use the sandbox. Yeah, this is a nice way to work. I like this. It's kind of one of the JavaScript console to always be, but it never quite was. All right. Soshin. I have a hard time believing it was that was doing it to us. Oh, are we getting one of these? So now if we do that, It's the fact that we're trying to use an R atom. Def fun, random food, those arguments. Returns this. If any levels do not exist, hash maps will be created. Man, it's so weird that we can like do that to the form, and presumably this is just like getting a return when we call that function. We call the function and get nothing back. So let's experiment with this. Def app state. It's gonna be that. That's something about the atom. Something about the atom I don't get. So what we did was we just changed this from like an atom to like a normal map. So something about associating in the atom, but dereferencing the atom inside the function call was like goofing us up. So if we do it outside the function, does that make a difference? Atom function definition, call the function, gives us back the right thing. Okay, so now I think we can do this. Swap the app state, that function. May as well change this to an R atom. Maybe there's something I'm not understanding about swap. Swap atom with a function. Swap atom with a function of f of x. Returns the value that was swapped in. So maybe swap wants me to pass. That's something like that. It might be that piece I'm missing. Alright. Why is that? This is the function. When we call the function, we get that back. Right. Okay, so yeah. Must have been something about the fact that I was like, oh, you know what? I was passing it a value. I was passing it a value when I expected a function, because this function returns a value. That value is that. This had to be a function the whole time. So when I was doing it like this, at app states, that was like evaluating into a value, which is like the map, right? So I was not passing a function this whole time. I was passing a value. So that's why that didn't work. Okay, makes a lot more sense. And along the way, we also got a better way to use swap, I think, because yeah, this whole like dereference thing, I just don't really understand. I don't know what the purpose is. I don't know how to use it. When to use it or why. So yeah, if I can just say like, hey, swap function, run this function and pass in the current value of the atom to that function, that all of a sudden gets a lot easier for me to work with. Another great thing about rich comment blocks is now I can just leave this at the bottom of the file and it doesn't even like, affect the functioning of the app. I can just say like, yeah, random food, and here's how I call that function. I'll just move it up here and blow away what I had before that didn't work. Nice. Now on click, all of a sudden gets a lot easier. On click, swap the app state with a random food at index. Great. Nested hash functions are not allowed. Is it really truly not allowed? Like break the app not allowed? Oh, I didn't. Cause by. Oh, I see. I've got. I think that'll work. Let's change it to an inline function. Go back here, refresh. Click the button, nothing happens. Wow. That's what it was. We had no function body. Great. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, so now we can update a nested item and we can give it a timestamp. So that's great. So the client side of this is more or less figured out in terms of like updating values, right? So we can do like fries, lobsters, hamburgers, and ice creams in each of these separately. But now we want to like update them via the medium of the WebSocket server they're connected to. So that's our next step. All right. Right. Now I already got some code for doing this for something like this. Now I need code for doing it with something like this. All right. I paused a little bit earlier because I realized I've kind of taken my earlier version of the state and I've done like timestamp one value test code. So I had that earlier. This was like not in the picture. And now that I'm introducing like more things into the state, I'm kind of realizing that I not only need to solve the problem for like how to update nested objects inside a vector that have timestamps, but I'm also going to need to do something like this. I'm going to need to say like, like game code. So that was the thing we were experimenting with initially. So game code is going to have like a timestamp of 1 and a value of test code. So now I need to start thinking about how to do like nested value updating for things that are ostensibly like flat values, because everything's going to have a timestamp and a value associated with it. So yep, it's something I need to like kind of go back and refactor in my original implementation, but for now let's not get too far ahead of ourselves and just concern ourselves with this nested thing. Great. And how I've done this is I have app state, just like global state for the whole app. I'm not going to goof around with state inside individual component function files, since just making this all global is going to be a much easier way to go about things. And what I've done is I've added a watcher to that state. And I think I'm going to stand. Activate the standing disk. And stretch. Okay. I can't change my camera, so you're just going to have to look at half my face. But I can change the lights. Change it to good morning, Orange Julius. Calm working. Nope. Yeah. Cartoon sunlight. Alright. So what I did was I added a watcher, and when the old state is not the new state, we send a state upstate. New state. Oh, so this should be already on the server. Oh, you got this newer state thing. Yeah, so are we already sending this to the server? I think we might be. So if we go to handlers. Whoa. Well, I don't know what that was. Hopefully we don't see it again. Yeah, so I think we may actually be sending this to the server already. Channel socket client new state. Very good. So we're getting the new state. Stack trace of root exception is empty. It's likely due to a JVM optimization that could be disabled with a bunch of stuff I don't understand. So what if we stop the server and start again? Alright. Load this file. Some squirrel fights going on in the backyard. These things love to chase each other around. Oh. Are you sure? Except the backend router is not found. Example backend router is not found. Well, I have not touched it even once. So that confuses me, and I started up earlier, which confuses me more. Alright, start Calva, jack in. Doesn't know its own Ripple port. Alright, evaluating file. Hopefully no errors to be had. Great, okay. So now we restarted the server. And the point of that was we were having some weird exceptions going on. Alright, I've opened the ports. I got a whole bunch of stuff. New client states. State is just a game code, man. Null pointer exception. I think it's because we broke our original implementation a little bit. So if we just go back here and change what I changed before. The time before. Alright, so if I just did like a timestamp 1. If we start sending that, I bet. I bet that'll be okay. Ping, ping, ping. Restart. Okay, restart the server, establish a new connection, hopefully. Should be getting some pings. And we're not. Yeah, stranger still the we're not seeing the handshake, but we are getting this back. Oh, you know what? I bet we're not quite at the point where we're sending app state watcher when the old state and the new state are not equal. Send a state updates. Right. When newer states and the data. Getting new client state. We should see 3 of those messages. Yep. All right, cool. So getting new client state. And timestamp. $770. Here's an interesting problem. We're getting the same timestamp every single time. Right, so we've got functionality to update the timestamp for like our nested value, but we're looking at the timestamp of the message versus the timestamp of the current state on the server. So, yeah, this is an interesting challenge. Yeah, so that kind of brings us to like the next part of our problem, which is kind of merging 2 items with like different timestamps. And this is actually a really good opportunity to do some kind of pure functional programming, because like basically the problem we're having is that I wonder if I could. Yeah, ooh, sweet. Okay. So check this out. I don't know if you remember, but like 2 minutes ago, what I did was how about I just show it? Great. Yeah, so we're getting a new client state, and that has like the timestamp of the change we just made. So if we go to game state, log that, we can see that these 2 timestamps match because the code we have right now is checking for like a map with a key called timestamp and a value. And if the value on the server is older than what the client is sending, then we know that the client is sending newer state, and we need to swap the game state out with whatever the client sent us, because that's like the more like up-to-date information that we're working with. So we can do that, but if we click this button, we have updated the timestamp. Ah, man. I think a better way to like inspect my data is going to be on the horizon soon as well. So what I click the lobster. Alright, so we're looking for ice cream. Alright, ice cream has like a newer value. If you can see, it was fries before, so like this timestamp is like newer than that timestamp. But we're still only looking at this timestamp, which is still unchanged in the local client state, which is why our game state is not updating. So yeah, now we need a way to like receive a state update and kind of like effectively just like check everything, like check all of the values and all of the objects and all the keys and all the values and just say like, hey, is there anything new in here? And if so, like I want to grab that new thing. I want to incorporate it. And yeah, like I was saying, that's a great opportunity to just do some pure programming. And we got 45 minutes left. And it's not much time. Okay. So yeah, I think a great way to do this would be to go back here, go back to the game, go to our game state starter function. And should I do this? So we've got that rich common block thing, so it's kind of like something we could do wherever we want to. Yeah, we've got all these code handlers, so let's do it in handlers. All right. Now let's take a quick break because I need to use the bathroom. So yeah, I could use like a something for taking a break. So all right, I'll be back in 2 minutes, and then we're gonna solve this problem. All right. All right, cool. We're back. We're back in action. All right. Yeah, so I was just saying we should, yeah, figure out how to do like, figure out how to uncomment our code to start. There we go. All right. So saying we want a, uh, like a general way to like go through and check timestamps for like nested stuff. And this is a great opportunity to stop our WebSocket server because this is frankly super distracting. Okay. But we will start the CLI because we need that. Okay. Okay, so we got our game state starter, Bootstrap's new game, movies and the host. Alright. Ordered game plots, movies. So def starter. There's stuff where like this is like probably never going to change, right? Like we're probably never going to have a value which is different for a game code since that just kind of like happens once. But I think in the interest of being able to treat all the data in the game state exactly the same, that's going to be our best option. So round index timestamp 1 value 0 host. Andy, and do we get that in there for Patrick, even though he's never going to see it? All right. Siri and Cliff. And Cliff is the one who's actually shown up for these live streams, so we'll put him first. All right, ordered game plots. It's going to be timestamp 1, 39 steps. Yeah, I'll just make this 2 to keep things simple and not frightening the aviator. All right, and then movies. Ordered game plots. Alright, so that's basically it for our game data, right? We got the game code, round index, host players. Plots. Round 0 plots. Timestamp 1 player. And we plots. It was the best of times. And I'm not sure if this is going to be the form that the plots takes, so it's a bit... Round 0, right. bit of a speculative move to go for this already, but I think it'll be okay. Purple green. There we go. Yeah, so what's our starter looking like? Yeah, but what's it looking like, man? I know it's the starter. Okay, cool. So that's all good. It's properly structured and formatted. Right. So we've got that, and now we need an example of like a newer game state coming in where, yeah, we've got like one of these values, but it's newer, and yeah, let's start with the game code. So we'll say like def newer state 1, and instead of like copying and paste this, which is you know, definitely the easiest thing we could do, like we could copy and paste this whole thing and give it a timestamp of 2, but just in the interest of like trying to do things in like a slightly elevated, slightly smarter way, how about we do the following. Search in starter at the index of game code timestamp 2. Go back to the docs because I've already forgotten how this works. Association. A nested associative structure. Right, so association starter at the index of game code. Timestamp 2 value. Alright, load that into the REPL, load that into the REPL. Newer state is what's it's not something. Newer state 1. So what are you? Can I just do that? Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay. So timestamp of 2, value EEMG. Alright. So we'll start there. We need a way of swapping looking through all the stuff that is different, has a newer timestamp in newer state 1, and swapping that into starter. Okay. We'll call that function define merge states. And I think it'll behoove us merge objects conditionally closure. It's somewhat rare that we find exactly what we want from the internet, just given that this is a somewhat obscure language compared to what I'm used to working with, which is one of the most popular languages in the world. Okay, it returns a map that consists of the rest of the maps conged onto the first. If a key occurs in more than one map, the mappings from the latter will be combined with the mapping of the result by calling f val in result val in later. This sounds like what I want. Merge in 2 maps using the addition function. Merge with works with an arbitrary number of maps. That's cool. Damn. Just these simple examples are just like so astounding, right? Like, imagine what you need to do in any other language to achieve that. Wild. Use union. There's something I haven't heard before. Closure cheat sheet. Merge with select keys. Merge. Soch in dissoc. With select keys, update in. Maybe update? I think merge with is probably pretty close to what I want, but let's see what update does. Updates a value in an associative structure where k is a key and f is a function that will take the old value and any supplied arguments and return the new value. So this is really useful when you know what it is ahead of time that you need to update. So we know ahead of time that we need to update the age, but the thing with what we're doing here is we don't know ahead of time what we need to update. So not what we want. That union thing, ooh, difference. Returns a set that is the first element without the elements of the remaining sets. Do not call difference with non-set arguments. Ooh, this sounds super sweet. But can we use it? Difference. A, B, C, D, E, F. What do you look like? Difference. What? Do I need to require this? Somehow. Difference. 1, 2, 2, 3. What's the deal, man? Alright, so I guess I had to require this special module because it doesn't just come along automatically. Alright. Require closure set as sets. Now I think I can say set difference loader in. Closure dot set. Here we go. Okay. So this is like another interesting thing. So something that's also dogged me as I've like gone through like my closure learning process is the fact that like a lot of documentation and Stack Overflow answers and things like that will say like require a library like this. And coming at it from a JavaScript background, it's very odd because you can only require a module at the top of a file, and even then you can only really do it. Well, I honestly don't really know / don't remember. how this works otherwise, but if you're using like a Webpack based thing or like a Webpack module, ES6 module kind of thing, you can only really require something at the top of a file or import it, and you cannot require something selectively. Secretly you can. You can't do a selective import, which is a Webpack thing. So yeah, I've seen this thing like this require key at the top, and every time I try to quote a module to require, it's like Clojure like blows up on me, and it doesn't work. So it's been very confusing to see stuff like this and to have it not work up here. So yeah, it's an interesting concept to think that I could like require code in a function if I need it and do it like that, and especially do it in a comment block. So yeah, that's super cool. Okay. Yeah, so we got this super sweet thing called difference, but we can only use it on sets. Advice: do not call difference with non-set arguments. Difference might or might not return what you expect if you give it values that are not sets. The implementation of difference does not check whether you're actually giving it values that are not sets. It assumes so. Well, I really want to pass it a map, but this guy's telling me not to, and I think he knows more than I do. The intersection is interesting. Turns a set that is the intersection of the input sets. So this will give you like the things that are the same about the two sets that you passed. So cool tools, but I think it might be difficult to use them with the stuff that we've built our state object out of. So I wonder if there's something in the map section we can use. Is it map bean? What's a bean? Never mind. Java stuff. Not getting into that. Hopefully ever. Ordered map, priority map. Examine, change. Getting contains. Dissoc. Reduce by key values. Sorted maps. Clojure difference for maps. Difference between two maps. This looks really complicated. Yeah, it looks like pretty sweet function. So let's see if it does what we do in the way that we need to do it. Alright. So let's load this into the REPL. Alright, no errors. Map difference. Starter and newer state 1. Ah, cool. Right, so that will give me the difference from the first map. And I presume if I call this backwards, it'll give me the difference from the second map. Yeah. Yeah, so let's just play with this a little bit. Do like timestamp 2. Oh. Didn't load it in, of course. Alright, hold on. Alright, so let's use a little bit of threading to perform like multiple changes. Starter. Oh, let's newer state 2. It's gonna be a thread with the starter. So we're gonna say association. That thing. Oh. That was also a trick I learned somewhere on the internet, because comments are treated as white space. In Clojure, you actually don't need, you could use a comma like anywhere, but you don't really need to. So if you want to have an easier time with like threading and like remembering where inside like a given function a threaded whatever is going to go into, you can put some commas there, and that'll act like a little visual placeholder for where your whatever is going, just for the sake of making it like more explicit than it would be otherwise. All right, so let's use timestamp 2 value cliff. So load that in. We'll make sure we actually did what we were trying to do. All right, so our host and our timestamp are different. Now if we call map difference on newer state 2, we get the host and the game code, which are different. All right. So that's cool. Host timestamp 2 value cliff, game code timestamp 2 value ENG. All right. And now if we did something nested, like timestamp 2, and hey man, let's just make some more variables because it doesn't matter. Newer state 3. All right, so we want like plots around let's work on this a little bit. Okay, so if we search in plots around 0, plots 0, gonna say timestamp 2 player series, age of ingenuity, and I'll just get rid of this, but we'll leave the threading just in case. Great. So let's go here. Let's load it in. Let's see what this looks like. Newer state 3. And yeah, plots round. Round 0, round 1. I think we got a new, or we got an old state we're working in. Old object with an old reference. All right. Now if we do this. So this can nest, but only to a certain extent. But it doesn't matter. Well, what have we figured out? We figured out that we can get the difference between two maps using this function. So that's cool. We can find the differences. It'll definitely work for simple things. So newer state 1, for instance, it gives the game code of the timestamp of 2 and value of EEMG. And from there, we can just look at the timestamp for like a simple value and do a comparison there. Where this gets tricky is nested items and updating nested items. So for instance, we can tell that the timestamp is 2 with nested state 3. And the player changed, and the plot changed. So what if we say like this? What does that look like? Does that give us the whole change? That gives us the whole change. Am I getting like too weird about this? What if I do like equal starter newer state 3 false equals starter true? Okay. Obviously true. Okay, so we can compare object equality, but I suppose if I'm receiving a message from the client, then it's not going to be like the exact same object. I'm going to be receiving a message because something in the state changed. So yeah, how to go into the thing that this handy function is giving us. Find the timestamp that changed and just get it back. wonder if I should be doing this with object keys necessarily. Here we go. I thought I was going to get sad rich. Yes, this is like used for annotating data. So I wonder if this is a better approach. Print meta. Should you use metadata closure? Or just uses a closure metadata. Doc strings, parameter types, storing things. In general, increase safety and at the same time flexibility. Well, it could be another way to go, right? Like maybe instead of adding a timestamp to everything, maybe this metadata thing will allow me to stick with what used to be like an extremely simple game object, and the timestamps could be just kind of like hidden away. I'd have all the same functionality, but it would be processed differently. Yeah, one way it could go. I don't know. But anyway, I'm feeling a little bit stuck on that, and yeah, we're approaching time for the end of the stream anyway, so yeah, how about we stop there? Yeah, just do a little summary of what we did, of what we got done. Sort of. We sort of got that done. Okay, so we set out to get timestamp-based data for client-server coordination working for vectors of values. We got that handled on the client side, so we can perform updates of like, you know, stuff in an array and like tag it with the timestamp. And we did get to the point where we can send that to the server, but we did not get to the point where we can do comparisons with like the state on the server versus the state on the client and update them accordingly. So that'll be next. But man, big win. Rich comments. Yeah, geez. This is going to be like a game-changing thing for me to have these comment blocks down here that I can just kind of like experiment with, because I've been trying to figure out how to use the REPL effectively, and I think this is going to be like the key that unlocks the door, because now I can like have all kinds of like setup stuff in here and functions that call other functions and, you know, don't affect the running of the program. You know, it's not something I need to like comment out after the fact or you know, clean up or erase or something. I can just like kind of clean up, leave it there, and it'll be there for me when I get back too. So anyway, if you made it that far, thanks for joining me for the stream, everybody. Yeah, clock is counting down. We got 2.5 days. 2.5 days to get this thing figured out. But yeah, we'll get it done in some fashion or another. But until then, ciao. I'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping by.